Wrong way crashes don't happen very often, but when they do, they're some of the most deadliest crashes on the road. Head-on impacts, high speeds, and little to no reaction time. So I'm gonna read this one. According to national crash data, wrong way crashes make up less than 1% of freeway crashes, but they account for a disproportionate amount of number of the fatalities. In some states, they represent up to 3 to 4% of all fatal freeway crashes. That's what makes them so dangerous. Not how often they happen, but how severe they are when they do happen. One wrong decision, usually at a ramp, and the situation escalates immediately. So the questions transportation agencies started asking wasn't just, can we warn drivers better? The question became, can the road itself recognize a wrong way driver early enough to save a life? Welcome back to Tech That Moves Us. I'm Marquis. On this channel, we break down the hidden technology quietly protecting people every day. And today's episode is really important. It's about how wrong way driver technology doesn't just detect danger, it prevents tragedies. For one of the first questions is why early detection changes the outcome. Well, one of the biggest challenges with wrong way crashes is timing. From the moment a vehicle enters the freeway or the ramp the wrong way, there may only be seconds or minutes before a collision occurs. Traditional safety tools such as signs, markings, reflectors rely on the driver recognizing their mistake and correcting it. But when a driver is impaired or confused, those cues don't always register. Detection systems, they change the equation. Instead of hoping the driver notices something is wrong, the system recognizes the mistake immediately and then starts responding. And that response, even if it only buys 10 or 20 seconds, can be the difference between a close call and a fatal crash. So now I want to walk through the different levels or escalation when it comes to wrong way drivers. We're going to call this one level 1, which are static signs and passive warnings. Every wrong way prevention strategy starts at some place, which is this. The signs that say do not enter, or wrong way, or directional arrows, or the red reflectors that face the correct direction. The first level is about clarity. It works well for alert and unimpaired drivers. It prevents countless mistakes every day. But it does have a limitation. It can't react, it can't escalate, and it can't tell you when something goes wrong. That's when agencies start to begin thinking about adding an additional layer. And that's where level 2 comes into play, the enhanced visibility and active warnings layer. This next step makes those warnings harder to ignore. You got the flashing LED borders around the signs, illuminated wrong way panels, active beacons triggered when a vehicle approaches in the wrong direction. This level doesn't just say don't do this, it demands the driver's attention. Studies from early deployments, they showed that flashing wrong way signs alone causes significant numbers of drivers to self-correct before entering the freeway. In some locations, agencies saw wrong way entry drop from 30 to 50% just by adding some visual cues. But there's still a gap. These systems warn the driver, but they didn't tell anyone that something was happening, that a driver was on the wrong way or coming up the ramp the wrong direction. So that's where we get into level 3. This is where the detection and real-time alerts come into play. So this is where wrong way technology becomes truly life-saving. At this level, the road starts watching for behavior, not just relying on the signs. When the vehicles enter a ramp the wrong way, these detection systems recognize it almost instantly. Cameras analyze direction and the movement, radar confirms speed and trajectory, and thermal systems, they can even detect vehicles in complete darkness. Once confirmed, the system reacts automatically. Those dynamic message signs or DMSs upstream activate to warn oncoming drivers. The traffic management centers can receive alerts immediately, and law enforcement is notified within seconds, not minutes. In states that have deployed full detection systems, studies have shown this: a dramatic reductions in wrong way crashes, faster response times by law enforcement, and in some corridors, 0 fatal wrong way crashes after deployment, which is significant. This isn't theoretical, it's measurable. And that's when we get to that next level, level 4, which is the network response and corridor protection. As systems mature, they stop acting in isolation. Detections at one ramp can trigger warning systems miles upstream. Multiple signs activate on the corridor, Operators see the entire event unfold in real time. This level isn't just about catching a wrong-way driver, it's about protecting everyone else. Drivers receive warnings before they even see the headlights coming. Traffic can be slowed or diverted. An emergency response can be staged proactively. The road becomes part of a response team. Why do these systems save lives? Well, wrong way detection doesn't eliminate mistakes, but what it does, it reduces the consequences. How does it do that? Well, by shortening detection time, extending the reaction time, and warning the right people at the right moment. The severity of crashes drops, or crashes never happen at all. And that's why agencies increasingly focus on the highest risk ramps first. Data shows that a small number of locations account for a large percentage of wrong way entries, and targeted deployment saves lives faster than a blanket solution. So what happens when the system is not there? In those locations without detection, the first warning call usually comes from drivers calling 911. And by the time someone reports the wrong way drivers, the vehicle may have been on the main lanes for miles. Detection systems flip that timeline. The road knows before the public does. And as with all my videos, I want to talk about the future because it's all about evolution. So this is where we're going to go from the roadside detection to vehicle awareness. And the next evolution of wrong way protection goes beyond the roadside equipment. So I want to ask a question, or the question that's worth asking. What if a road didn't just react to the wrong way driver? What if the vehicle itself refused to make that mistake in the first place? Well, as we know, most modern vehicles know a lot already. They know which direction we're traveling, they know which ramp we're about to enter, and whether that ramp is meant to be an entrance or an exit. So it's not a stretch of the imagination if the vehicle noticed something wrong right away. Like what if, as a driver approached the exit ramp the wrong way, the vehicle issued a clear of unavoidable warning? Or it went a step further. What if the car limited your acceleration? What if it prevented you from doing a turn altogether? What if it brought the vehicle safely to a stop before it entered the freeway or the ramp? Now that ideal may sound a little extreme, but the building blocks for that already exist. Because the cars, they already know how to apply automatic emergency braking, prevent lane departures, and override driver inputs in dangerous situations. So wrong way prevention could be another layer of the same safety logic that's already presented in our vehicles. And when you add that to a connected environment, which infrastructures and vehicles could work together, the road now could broadcast this is an exit ramp. The vehicle could confirm its heading doesn't match. And instead of relying on the driver to notice a sign, the system intervenes early, calmly, safely, and intentionally. Not to take control away from drivers, but to prevent mistakes that has almost no margin for recovery. That's the real future of wrong way prevention. It's not just detection, it's not just warnings, but prevention at the decision point. The goal isn't to stop drivers from driving, it's to stop a wrong way turn from becoming irreversible. What's the big takeaway that we should get from this? Wrong way driver technology isn't flashy. You don't notice when it works. But when it does its job, lives are saved quietly, without headlines, without sirens, without ever knowing how close things came. That's exactly how safety technology should work. So when you're driving, and the next time you see a wrong way sign, either flashing or not, or a message board of danger ahead, remember, that is just not a sign. It's a system designed and deployed to recognize a deadly mistake and stop it before it becomes irreversible. And with that sobering reality of safety, but also discussing how the technology has evolved in that space of preventing wrong way drivers, I'm Marquis, and this is Tech That Moves Us. And as I close out, I want to leave you with a couple questions, or one question really. Should wrong way detection be standard everywhere, or focused only where data shows it's the highest risk? Drop a comment, like, and subscribe to this channel, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode.